Hey, Team Relentless. This is the third call of 2015. If you haven't the call already, make sure you access the first and second one for the year via my YouTube channel. I'm doing content to kind of go along with what's going on in my team and where we're at in the year. I know that a lot of people look at the beginning of the year and it's really daunting to look at the big goals that they set, the things that they want to achieve, and I know at the beginning of last year, I thought, God, I can never hit elite. I can't. I don't know if I can do this. And it was just self-doubt creeping in, and it was something new. It was my first year of being, full-time coach, and I've seen so many people in 2014 and even in 2013 hit elite once they set these goals. So I really thought that, if any of the top coaches that you talk to, they really have the same content, but sometimes coming from another set of lips or the way that they present it or share it really helps. So I've been having different guest speakers come on because everybody has different experiences and different, stories and things that they can relate to. So I thought that in the first month we would really just share with, stories from people who elite within the first year, starting with Emerald in the very beginning of the year, because there's so many people who just, they set a goal for Diamond and they give themselves a whole year. And so much more can be achieved if you lay it all out and really see what you need to do and space it out and give yourself deadlines. To announce my speaker, Colleen, and she is hilarious. If you don't page already, please do. It's Fun Fit Fam. She is hilarious and is branded herself. She's going to share some tips about how she got started, because in the very beginning of the year she was Emerald, and then by the end of the year she was ended as elite coach, which is a 5-star Diamond. I'm a mom of 3, so I can relate, and so I see so many people out there who are having a hard time balancing being a coach, being a parent, being a spouse, and even, maybe working full-time. And so my big thing that I was talking about, from the beginning of the year was about balance. I shared, and we just kind of, got off on the wrong track last year, and we got distracted, and we really didn't know how to balance things out. We both poured ourselves into other things and not ourselves. So the biggest thing that I'm telling any coach out there who watches my videos and all my new coaches that are coming on board is to, focus on a balance, and that this needs to be something that is seen as a family, and you work together as a family where you share your goals, you share why you're setting your goals, and who's going to benefit from it. The whole family will, because you really cannot be successful in this business for long if your family doesn't support you, because there's a lot of guilt there, there's a lot of resentment. Family, what you're doing, and that tell them that they are the reason why you're doing it, and then express what is going to be required from you and what sacrifices they're going to have to make and how they're going to have to pull together as a family, but then share the big picture about what benefits they'll all receive as a family. And so the best thing is setting business hours, which I've heard from the last 2 years from corporate, is setting business hours. And it's kind of scary, and it's easy to multitask things here and there, but then I really think that you have to ask the things you do, and it seems like your family takes the back burner, and it can cause a lot of problems, and that's the last thing we want to do, and it's the last thing anybody in our corporate offices want happening. In fact, they actually put a huge emphasis on family first. And so I'm going to do that, and I know that Colleen spends a lot of time with her family, but she does balance, do a good balancing act. She was on vacation with her family the other day, but she does have her team calls just like I do, and she does set aside a time to do it. She did it from her hotel room. And so these are things that, like Wednesday night, I've designated my team calls, and I encourage all of you to mark your calendars and set aside Wednesday evenings unless something really big comes up, and let your family know that this is work time, because as my last guest speaker last week said that, there's so many people out there who say, oh, I'm neglecting my family, I'm neglecting my spouse, I'm neglecting my duties, and it's because they're just all over the place, and they're deluding themselves, and really not putting the right value on the time for themselves, their spouse, their children, and they're trying to multitask too many things. So make sure that you see this as business hour. I really encourage everybody to get the national wake-up call and their team call, and to set aside even if it's only an hour every day to work on your business, to do so and do it with your undivided attention. And it's the same thing you would do with your family. this is a business. If you treat it like a business, it will turn into a business, and it can turn into a 6 to 7 figure annual income earning business. But you have to see it as a business, and you have to treat it like it, and you have to share with your family you're doing so. Because I'm pretty sure that you don't just decide to not go to work one day because you're afraid it's going to take from your family. I'm pretty sure that your whole family, respect and acknowledge that your job, if you work outside of the home, is a business. And this is something you do for your family to bring in a paycheck, and it's important. This is the same type of thing. So make sure that you're seeing it that way as well. So I'm going to mute myself and hand over to Colleen. Again, like I said, she started off in 2014 as a Emerald coach, ended it as a 5-star Diamond coach. That means she helped 5 people get to Diamond. I know we were working alongside each other because we belong to the same team, and I watched her work really hard. I watched her grow. I watched her attend these events, and she did it, and her family's still intact, her kids are still alive, barely maybe, but she's done a good job, and she's an amazing woman. So I want to turn it over to her to share her little tidbits. So get your notepad and your pen out, and if you do miss this is available on my YouTube channel to go back and watch again.
Okay, thank you, Mindy. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me to this call. I love that Mindy was talking about balance, because it's funny. It's something I struggle with, and but in the same sense, I know that this is something that's going to bring my family wonderful things. And just tonight, I was thinking, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I just need to take the day off. I just need to da-da-da. And I'm like, you know what? No, my goal is going to be to take big chunks of time during the summer off. So during the spring, while my kids are still in school, my daughter's even in school, I'm just going to push, and then maybe I'll be able to take a little bit more time off during the summer. So I love that about this job, is that you can create your own, you're the CEO of your own business. You can create your own hours, but it's also a job that the more you put into it, the more you get out of it, and it can help your family. So let me just start off by telling you how I got started. I've worked my whole life, and in 2012 I had my 3rd child, Josie, and I wanted to stay home with her. My husband was he's a iPhone repair and computer guy, and he was opening his own business, and we were struggling financially. We had gone through some just dark periods, he used to be in construction, and then the market crashed, and we had all these houses, and we lost pretty much everything. So we were rebuilding, and then we had Josie, 2012, and I gained 64 pounds. I was big pregnant mama, and then right after I had her, Christmas came, and then I started eating Christmas cookies, and I just kept eating those cookies and kept eating those cookies, and then it was June. But something happened. I started getting a sweet tooth, and so my baby weight didn't come off, and I really struggled during my pregnancy, just being okay, I know I'm healthy, I'm not going to worry about what I look like. But after I had the baby, I definitely went through some depression, and like I said, I had always worked, so as much as I loved being home with my kids, there was a part of me that got bored doing it. There was a part of me that my husband would come home from work every day, and I would say, well, how's your day? And he'd tell me, and he asked me how my day was, and I was like, well, Barney was talking about shapes, and we watched Elma, and he was like, man, you gotta friggin' do something. So I was in this stage in 2013. Josie was 6 months old. I was overweight still. I was wanting to be home, but I was also wanting interaction with adults. I'm not a big mommy group person. I tried those when my sons were younger, and after a while, sometimes I just didn't want to talk about nipples and breast creams, and there's sometimes that I just didn't want to talk all about mommy stuff. I wanted something else. So here I was, 2013, and it was about March, and I knew I needed to, well, actually February, I was like, okay, I'm going to do something about my weight. So I joined Ladies Home Fitness. I had a coupon, and I went, and it was 30-day free trial. So I went to Ladies Home Fitness, and I would just, if anyone's ever joined, it's a great gym, but there's a lot of ladies, it's all ladies, a lot of older women. So I was 50 pounds overweight, but I'm oh, I'm in the best shape in here. But I would go, and I would just do my little thing on the gym, and then I would come home. And I'm not somebody, I don't love to exercise, and I'm not somebody that knows what I'm doing when I go to the gym. I don't push myself. So I would come home and like nothing happened. None of the weight budged. I would barely break a sweat. So that didn't work. I tried that for 30 days. So we had the Insanity program, and I decided I would start that. I started in March of 2013. I put it in, the original Insanity. I hadn't exercised in 4 years, besides Ladies Home Fitness. That was nothing. And I cried the first day, and my whole life, like if anything was remotely uncomfortable, I would quit. I was like the biggest quitter in the world. If I like had a map up here with like little like thumbtacks of all the places I've lived, you would be blown away. Like something bad happened in Virginia, I'm like, screw you, I'm moving to friggin' New Jersey. Like I moved all over the place, nonstop. And I always ran away from everything, I mean, constantly, just relationships, anything was remotely uncomfortable, I would walk away. That was just what I was. I was a quitter. And so my first thing, I barely got through like the fit test, and I went upstairs to my husband. I'm like, that's it. I can't do it. It's too hard. I was like, take a look at this, because I'm going to be chubby for the rest of my life. I'm going to be chubby, and I hope you love me the way I am. And he was like, no, I will love you the way you are, but he's like, you can totally do it. And he's like, Mr., he just believed in me, and he's like, Mr., yes, you can do it. And at the time, like, that's totally what I needed. And I bring that up too because that's what we do as coaches. Like, we believe in people before they can believe in themselves. When somebody comes to you and wants to start a fitness program, they don't think they can do it. They look at the infomercials, they see Autumn Calabrese, and they're like, oh my gosh, like that, I don't think I can do it. And we say, yes, you can do it. You can totally do it. And we believe in them before they can believe in themselves. And that's exactly what my husband did to me. And in his mind, maybe he was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even sure she can do it. But he told me it, and it made me feel good. And so anyway, so I did it. Something like clicked. A part of me just was like so tired of feeling the way I was. I had turned into the mom. I was 39 years old, and I'm like very young at heart, but my body was just like exhausted. I was taking naps every day. When I went to the playground with my kids, I was the mom like sitting on the bench. I'm like, I don't want to be like this. I want to be running around with my kids. I want to be, feeling great. So I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick with Insanity. And I did. I was like religious about it. I did it for 60 days. I couldn't believe I got through it. The weight like just fell off. People didn't recognize me when they saw me in my neighborhood. They were like, oh my gosh. And I hadn't even started clean eating yet. Like I would do my Insanity, and then I was like, go eat my like sandwich with mayonnaise and barbecue chips. I was like, I hadn't gotten to that part yet. Just baby steps. And it just, the weight just dropped off. I mean, that's the thing with the Beachbody programs. They work. Like if you do them, they work. They're great. And if they didn't work, they wouldn't have a money back guarantee. So got through the Insanity. I was like so excited, and the fact that like I could do it when I didn't think I could like made me feel like, wow, let me get another program. So, but at the time we were struggling still financially. So I kept researching different programs. I would like go on YouTube and watch all the different infomercials. And at the same time, I was also like trying to figure out what I could do financially to help our family. I knew I didn't want to put Josie and my older boys in daycare, but I hadn't been in the workplace in like a couple years. I was like, what can I do? Like work from home just sounded very sketchy. I was like, I had no idea what I could do. But I happened to be on a local mommies forum, and there was an ad. My coach, Katie Green, posted an ad in a local mommies forum looking for coaches. And I, again, had no idea what a coach was, but I knew I believed in Beachbody. So I sent her an email, and I said, hey, I've already done Insanity, and I love the program. I actually have before and after pictures, and I sent them to her. And I'm like, can you imagine, first of all, if you're a coach getting that email, I would be so excited. Don't you love, like, when you message somebody and they're like, oh, I already love Beachbody. You're like, yes, oh my gosh, you have to be a coach. There's no convincing. So anyway, she, I sent her that message, and she was, like, really psyched. She, like, right away found me on Facebook, sent me messages. She's like, I'm in your front yard. You're my new best friend. I was like, whoa, back up. This lady's a little aggressive. And I just was like, tried to talk myself like out of, okay, I'll just do the $39.99 thing. Okay, no, wait, no, I don't want Shakeology, you know. And at that time, it was June 2013. Vanilla Shakeology was like just about to come out. And honestly, I'm like, I didn't think I was a chocolate person, so if the vanilla hadn't come out, I probably never would have signed up. Now I drink chocolate, so whatever. But and what got me was T25 was coming out. I'm like, oh, I just love Shanti. So again, we messaged back and forth. I blew her off like for a while. She would send me messages, and I like purposely wouldn't touch Facebook so it didn't say red on it. You know, I was like, just wasn't sure about it. Talked about it with my husband, went back and forth, back and forth. And I have to say this too. One of the messages she sent me, actually one of the very first messages, she cut and paste a message, and she had only been a coach for 3 months, and her business like boomed right away. And so she had like, you know, a lot of things going at once, and she cut and pasted a message to me that was like recommending the program Slim in 6. And anyone knows, like somebody that just finished Insanity, you're not going to recommend Slim in 6 to. It was a she made a mistake. And she was like, whoopsie daisy, that was not for you. And right away, I even said to my husband, oh my gosh, this lady totally just cut and pasted this message to me. But I bring that up, not because she's a bad coach, because she's amazing, but because we all make mistakes. And there's been so many times that I've gotten excited and been messaging with like a future customer, and I like think I'm sending my coach a message, and I say like, oh my gosh, I got another one. And then but really I send it to the customer. I'm like, whoops, that wasn't for you. So we make mistakes in the beginning, and it's okay. You just handle them with grace. You know, we're human. We're all going to make mistakes. So I just wanted to bring that up because I know so many times, like, people in the beginning are, like, nervous about going out there, and it's okay. Like, it's okay. So finally I signed up, and I got the T25 and the Shakeology. I did not want Shakeology, and I literally said to my husband, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're getting the shakes. We're going to drink them. And if we're not freaking supermodels, in 30 days, we are returning them. I was like, I want to look like Heidi Klum. Do you see my face? I said, I better be smoking hot at the bottom of this bag or it's going back. And honestly, that's like what I went through in my mind. I didn't believe that Shakeology could be as awesome as I thought. So we get the bag of Shakeology. We get the T25. And my husband and I decided to split the first bag. And we got it and literally like drank it and like stared at each other like, do you feel anything? Are you tingling? Are you like, I wanted it to work so badly, but I paid such attention to what was going on with my body. And I say that because that's like the best thing to do in the beginning. Get in the mindset when you get your challenge pack, like that I want this to work. So you're going to do it, drink the shakes every day, you're going to do your workout, and pay attention to what's going on with your body. Because if you do it, things are going to happen. And they did. I had a terrible Diet Coke addiction. I drank like up to 6 or 8 Diet Cokes a day. I wasn't even trying to get rid of that habit, honestly. And all of a sudden we were like, oh my gosh, we're not drinking diet soda anymore. What happened? Shakeology happened. You know, like I was using the bathroom. That was always a big ordeal. I wasn't taking naps anymore. I mean, I just paid attention to what was going on with my body, and you know, that was what. And then I shared about it. So, and I did the same with the T25. When I got the program, I was in a challenge group, and I put the DVDs in. My husband was doing it with me, and I did it every day. And I was like, again, religious about it. Like, it was like I had an appointment to do my workout, and I did it. And I'm not somebody, let's remember the Ladies Home Fitness, I am not somebody who likes to work out. I mean, I was an athlete in high school and stuff, but like honestly, if I didn't have to work out, I wouldn't. But I did. I wanted it to work, and I wanted to be able to share about it, and I wanted to be able to sell it. I wanted to get my costs covered, so I just made sure that I did it. And I started sharing about it just on my Facebook page in the beginning, and I also wasn't very active on Facebook before I started with Beachbody, really. Like, some people come to Beachbody and they're really like big into you know, have used Facebook a lot, and I really hadn't been, so it wasn't like I had like a huge following or anything. I kind of had to build that all up, but I just started sharing about it on my personal page, and just you know, I was like, well, I'm doing this program, we feel great, we look great, you know. I just was out there, and people would come to me and were like, ask about it, and I ended up, you know, covering my costs. And and that was great. I had the first couple months were awesome. Like T25 just came out. I like had like SE 25, Success Club 25 and 20, like first couple months. And then the fall came and things kind of slowed down, and that happens to a lot of coaches, especially if you've had like a great explosion in the beginning, and then a lot of times it can slow down. And during this time, I really wasn't, I was trying to sign coaches up, but I didn't really get that. I didn't really get the importance of building a team. A lot of coaches are like that in the beginning. My coach, Katie, kept stressing it. I am like really a stubborn person. I don't listen to people a lot of times. So I kind of, I wasn't listening to everything she said. I should have. And I would talk about coaching a little bit, but I wouldn't talk about it with everybody. I would, I kind of like judged everybody before I had the conversation. And the difference now in my business is that I mention coaching to everybody, because here's the thing. Everybody likes to save money, and if you sign up as a coach, it's always cheaper than if you're a customer. There's so much more. So somebody can be a discount coach, somebody can be an active coach. You never know. The coaches that I have on my team that are most successful, I never saw it coming. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I got to go after this girl. She's going to be an awesome diamond. She just blew up. So now I talk about coaching with everybody, and there's a couple different ways I do that. And I can talk about that in a little bit, but so I had a great beginning, and then my fall was kind of crappy, and people returned challenge packs, and I did have like 4 coaches on one side, and then everybody quit at once, and I was like, you know what, I didn't want to quit because I love Shakeology and I liked what I was doing, but I told my coach, I said, I'm not recruiting coaches anymore. I'll do strictly retail, and she kept trying to talk me out of it. I'm like, don't want to hear about it. Leave me alone. I ignored her for like a month. So I had 1 month where I had 0 points, and I still regret it. So don't do that. Don't blow it off for a month. And that was in the end of 2013. But so I just kind of, was going through the motions, and I just really wasn't pushing myself to get anywhere. And coaches that signed up after me were getting to Diamond, and it kind of didn't make me feel so good, and I just wasn't really getting in my groove, and things started kind of drying up, like on my personal page. I had connected with a lot of people in the beginning, but things sort of, that's sort of what happens. It dries up, and that's why having a Facebook business page is so awesome, because it's a way to network and meet people, that you wouldn't otherwise meet. So I knew I had to start start building a business page, and I would follow like some top coaches, and what I would do was just try to do everything they did. And I talked about this a little bit the other night. Like Amber Scott had a huge page, and I was like, okay, whatever Amber does, I'm going to do. I would like literally go to her page and like, okay, copy that, paste it, copy, paste. I'm like, like waiting for my business to explode. And I'm like, this isn't fair. Like Amber's business, we got the same post, and her business is doing great. Nobody's liking my post. Which I didn't realize she had like created a following before that. It wasn't just her little motivational pictures that were getting people. She had created a huge following. I think through YouTube is really what she used. But I didn't like my business page. I hated like posting to it. I would go over there and like post this corny stuff again that just wasn't me. Like I like motivational quotes. I just don't ever post them because I don't like them. I mean, I like them. I don't like them. They're not like what I use. So finally, in January of 2014, I started like kind of getting my groove back on and inviting coaches, and I ended up getting to Diamond. I pushed myself, and I decided that I was going to switch things up with my Facebook business page. So I changed the name. And what I did really was I poured my personality from my personal page onto my business page. Woo! Wow, that's some like profound thing. I was myself on my business page, and people connected with me. I mean, that like you're a likable person. I'm sure all of you guys are likable people. If you're not, that's too bad. I'm kidding. I'm sure you are. But people like you. Your family likes you. Find what people connect with you about, and then use that on your business page. It's just like a way of meeting new people, social networking. So I started connecting with people through my business page, and the biggest thing for me was I loved it. It was like a blog to me. It was a way for me to like you know, kind of vent about things that were going on in my life, like, you know, giving my daughter a bath and like being a drowned rat afterwards. I mean, how many other moms don't like relate to that when you're like, oh my gosh, you know, why do I have to feel like this every night? And just the, you know, crazy little ways, but then I was connecting with other moms, relating to them. People were, you know, trusting me. They were following me. There's a bunch of Beachbody coaches. We all have the same product, so you have to find a way to connect with people. People that are really like, that want to be in bikini competitions, or that are going to be like, you know, I don't know, nonstop running marathons. They're probably not going to follow my page because that's not my thing. They might follow like a Becky Brissett, or someone who's like working out in her garage all the time, like just someone like that, or someone that, because she was in bikini competition. Someone's going to follow you for your niche. So you have to kind of tap into what you can offer them, again, besides just Beachbody, and connect with them on that level. So business page. So I'm going to go over just a couple tips. Again, you know, it's a great way to connect with people through your personal page. You can send people messages, invite, but through your business page is a way that, you know, you can meet new people and connect with them. So I would definitely, you know, recommend like following different people's pages and getting ideas. But to this day, still, like when I go and follow some of the top coaches' pages, all of a sudden I find myself being like getting stuck, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, Lindsay Matway, like, who looks like that? She's a freaking Barbie doll. I'll never be successful. I'll never be top coach because I don't look like that. I mean, I'll never be a size 2. Oh my gosh, like, get off her page then. You know, I like have to slap myself. Like, if I find myself being like a psycho Facebook stalker, like going through people's posts, I know it's time to back away. So you can follow some coaches, you can get inspired, but you know, you could also do that through bloggers or Pinterest or other things. But make sure you tap into who you are. And I would definitely get a notebook. I still do this, like, or however, if you make notes on your phone, however you like keep notes, because you want to track things that like happen during the day. You know, if your kids say something funny, you know, you see something that, like, I don't know, strikes your fancy that you want to share about, like, make a note of it, and so, you know, that you don't have to post everything immediately. You can like go through, and on days that like maybe you don't have anything to post about, you can go through your notebook and like find, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a funny story, I have to remember to share about that. So I'm constantly like keeping notes and writing things that go down. So you want to like tap into what you're good at. You know, I have a lot of coaches that like are good at like doing makeup. Like, I love watching makeup applications. I'm not good at makeup. I made a funny video that's like how bad I am at makeup. Like, we'll go for a date and I'll like come down and I've already like rubbed my eyeliner off and I get like stuff in my contacts and I end up taking it all up. I mean, it's just not my thing. But I love the people that are good at it. I just think it's amazing. You know, I got my makeup done for Elite Photos, and I'm like, I can't believe how this girl can do makeup. So people love like those kind of things. If you're good at that stuff, great. But in the same sense, you know, say you go get your makeup done, you buy some new products that you like, you can share about things. People get curious about that, and they like when you know, share about, you know, like whatever, even like a favorite toothpaste you like, something like that. Things that like you may not think about, start like being hypersensitive to things that you can share about, things that you would maybe share about with your neighbor or your best friend or whatever. You know, same things with like being like, you know, a bargain shopper. Are you somebody that like finds good deals? You know, do you love to go to thrift stores? Are you good at like decorating, rearranging your furniture? Do before and after. Like, say all of a sudden you move things around in your living room. You know, you're going to go through, if you're just starting your Facebook page or maybe you're redoing your Facebook page, you're going to go through a lot of like, oh my gosh, nobody's going to care about this. There's a lot on Facebook that is so boring. Like, if I scroll through my news feed sometimes, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is boring. So yes, you can be, you know, a breath of fresh air. People love before and afters. I don't care if it's like cleaning out your car. Like, you know, there's so many like before and afters that you can do. Like, I redid my daughter's room and did a before and after. Redid a chair. Or, you know what? Do it. Inspire yourself to do that. Go to Pinterest. Like, go to a thrift store and find like an old piece of furniture and redo it. Like, maybe it's not going to be perfect, but have something to share about. On the topic of that, I always recommend, and I talked about this the other night, but make sure that you do the actual, like, don't just share a recipe, or don't just share like a project. Like, actually do it. It just, I don't know, it just makes it seem like more personal, like something you would actually share. You want to think of your Facebook page as like a blog or a website. So you want the pictures to all look good. There's so many awesome, photo apps you can use. It's not like you have to be like the whole time and like, oh my gosh, wait, let me put on my makeup on. But you want to have clear pictures. You don't want to have a lot of junk and stuff like that in the background, because you want to catch people's eye and you want to look professional. Okay, the same with like crafts or do-it-yourself project. You get what I'm saying about that. So be consistent. I would say post, like, I used to post like 6 times a day. I mean, I was like psycho. I mean, I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's an hour. I have to post something. Like, do something funny. Somebody, like, we're not funny anymore. We're freezing out. Like, I would get like a little bit psycho about my page. Now I at least post 3 times a day. At least one thing during the day has to be some sort of like fitness related. It doesn't have to be drinking your Shakeology or even like doing your workout. It could be like a tip, like I shared about this I think the other day, to read, like, if you can't find anything that you're inspired about, go read an article on like what are some good foods to eat. I read an article about bran cereal. That's what I talked about the other day. But like eating bran cereal, they say people like that eat bran cereal in the morning have a smaller waistline. So I was like, or high fiber cereal. So of course I bought high fiber cereal, and if it works or not, I wouldn't know. But I poured a bowl and took a selfie of it, and I posted about it. It was kind of like a tip, and it also like helped people, so then somebody else thought about it. There's so many tips about like foods, like whether it's like lemon in your water. I mean, there's so much stuff you can find out about there. But what I'm saying, instead of just sharing something or sharing a whole article, personalize it. So like, if it's putting lemon in your water, have yourself drinking lemon water and say like, whatever, a tip from drinking lemon water. Okay. Oh, so like if you are doing a program, especially when a new program comes out, like when PIO came out this summer, I know you guys, Mindy did PIO, so I'm sure you guys all know a lot about PIO, but I loved PIO when I started it, and actually my business did really well this summer, and right around after Summit and PIO. But I was like so excited every time I did it. I really like felt good about the program, and I shared about it. I literally because there's so many like fun poses, in the beginning. I like looked really stiff and like a freak doing it, and then I got better, and people used to even say, oh, I'm watching your progression, like your pictures look better. And I would post about it, and literally sometimes I post, be like, I'm sorry if you guys are sick of the PIO post, but I'm just loving this, and you got to see me, look at them doing this. And I've had people that were like, okay, you got me. I've been watching your PIO post for the past, 3 weeks, so it's okay. Like if you show yourself consistently doing a program, like that is good too. A lot of people are doing the max out things with Insanity Max. I haven't been doing that because I am not writing down the max out things. That's just too much work for me. I don't max out. I just kind of go to the modifier and go back and forth. But some people are doing the max out thing. So, again, there's other ways to, like, if you've already had a transformation, there's other ways to tap into that. I almost always do a Transformation Tuesday picture because I love transformation pictures. Some days I'll share them with people on my team. I almost always recommend doing that. You can get them from other people on your team or your challengers. You can ask them if you could share your pictures, whatever it is. Maybe like I had one picture of like my legs, like they were like old lady looking legs in the beginning, and my legs looked better afterwards. One time I did like a before and after of my hair because my hair's grown so much since drinking Shakeology. But I always do a Transformation Tuesday picture. I really do. There's other things like when I was flying, when I went to Miami a couple weeks ago, there was actually a woman who was like a lot larger, and I saw her like struggling with her seatbelt, and I just remember like traveling in the past and like feeling like, I just felt so gross, and like I was hanging all over my seat. And so I took a picture of myself like fitting in the airplane seat nicely, and I shared about that, like, wow, I'm feeling so grateful that I've lost 50 pounds. Like whenever I post stuff like that, people like can relate to that and be like, I will get so many messages right after that and be like, oh my gosh, I just flew last week and I felt disgusting in my seat, or like, please, I'm so tired of flopping over my seatbelt, whatever it is. you will like just pay attention to things that you're experiencing, that you're grateful for during the day. You know, from your transformation. Maybe it's, you know, again, you have more energy or whatever it is, but there are ways to like make those into a post. I'd be always happy to like help you out in the beginning. You know, sometimes you're kind of like feels uncomfortable and figuring out like ways to be creative about it, and so I'm always happy. You can always send me a message. Okay, let me just try to get through here. Oh, get personal. So I talked about this again the other night. You want people to feel connected to you. You know, you don't have to air your dirty laundry, you know, unless, you know, if you have a story you want to tell, or you could tell little bits and pieces of it. I have like a lot in my past that, you know, I've shared about on some transformation videos. I don't blurb it out all the time, all over the place, but, you know, I'll share bits and pieces of my story, you know, if I feel led to. But like just sharing things to like make yourself relatable to people. For some reason, we don't go on a lot of date nights, but I swear every time we go on a date night, like the day before my husband, or the day of, my husband and I fight like the whole time. We're like, never, I'm like, oh my gosh. And the whole time I'm like, I'm canceling the babysitter, forget it. I don't even want to go out with you. Like to the point where I always say, like, if we were dating, we would not be going out. We don't even like each other right now. And it's like every time, you know, but what do? We always go. You know, we like any relationship, you know, we argue. We always end up laughing at the end of it. It's ridiculous. It's stuff that we argue about. We're both stubborn. We're both whatever. Have wild personalities. So, but I shared about that. You know, I shared about like us like being like every time we have a date night we fight, and so many people like were like, oh my gosh, my husband and I are the same way. So there's so many different ways to connect with different people, ways to show you're human, and ways to do it without like airing your dirty laundry or like complaining about like, you know, your husband or whoever else. Okay, so likewise, this happened to me the other night. I was like going through this thing where I was just feeling like bored of our life and we never do anything. And I was like just going through a bratty phase, and like I looked over at my husband and my daughter. We were watching Frozen for like the 5,000th time, and my husband and my daughter were like both smiling watching it. And I literally, it was like a moment where I like wanted to slap myself. And I took a sweet picture of them, and it also like helped me, and then I posted it and I like shared about it. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I can be so bratty, and I'm like, I'm watching all these people that are going on these awesome vacations, and we're sitting on our couch on a Saturday watching stupid Frozen. That's what I was thinking in my head, and instead I like saw, you know, it like stopped me for a minute. I saw my husband and my daughter. I'm like, who cares if we're on the couch? You want to be on the couch. You love the couch. Like that's really what I love doing. And I took a picture and I shared about it. And I had so many other moms that were like, could relate to that. Like, oh my gosh, this really struck home with me. I'm going through this right now. So it's funny because it helped me like process through my brattiness, and it also helped me connect with moms. So pay attention to that stuff. Likewise, I mean, I could go on and on and on. Likewise, the other day I was walking with my daughter who's 2, and anyone who's got a toddler or who's had a toddler, like if you ever go for a walk with them, you're like, oh my gosh, hurry up. You know, I kind of wanted to like get a little exercise and do a little speed walk, and she was like, you know, and I was like, literally was like, okay, you know what, slow down, just slow down. And I took a cute picture of her. My dog was with her, and I posted, you know, I used like a neat app, and I posted something about like doing a nature walk with a 2-year-old will remind you to slow down. And again, so many people could relate to that. So okay, I'm going to try to speed up here. I know we're, so again, things that annoy you, you know, that's something I shared about before, but a lot of times, like this past summer, I had a babysitter come here, so I would go to like the library or coffee shops or something to try to, you know, get some work done. And I was amazed at like how people talk in the library. Like people were answering phones in the library. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened to like we don't talk in the library? And it was just like amazing to me. But so I would like I filmed, you know, I took selfies of me like staring at the lady. Of course, I didn't say anything to her because I am too much of a wimp and I hate confrontation. But like it was like became a big thing, and all these people were like, oh my gosh, I hate that too, or whatever. So there's ways to like kind of share about those things that bother you. Maybe, you know, if you're working, again, it's not just all mom stuff. If you're working I used to work with this girl, and she used to say, like, she was in New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, but she used to say, like, well, to be honest with you, before everything you say. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, please stop saying that. Don't be honest with me anymore. Just lie to me, please. I can't stand that. And so one day I was like, posted something about that. We talked about like expressions, you know, that I couldn't stand. So there's a ton of things you can post. Again, am I talking about Beachbody? No, but I'm connecting with other people. You know, same with your pets or anything like that. So keep a notebook, jot things down. I make sure that I pay attention to when I post things. If I'm posting like mom type stuff, I usually do it during the day. You know, if I look at my stats, there's a way to look at your stats. Most of my followers are on Facebook like almost all the time, but I make sure I do like the mom stuff during the day, and then like my prime time hour, like between 8 and 10 at night, that's when I always post like my transformation pictures or something that I want to make sure, if I do a funny video, something I want to make sure people see. So that's another good reason to like keep a notebook so you can kind of keep track of when you post things. Okay, and that's pretty much all I had. The last thing, again, too, is brand yourself. You know, if there's something that you love or something that you're struggling with, you know, I shared with this too, I went through like this friggin' cheese ball thing. It was insane. There's always like one food that like I just have like an addictive personality. So I went through like this phase where I was like eating cheese balls like all the time, every night, and I would call my husband. I'd be like, "Can you bring home a ton of cheese balls or a bag of cheese balls?" It was like nuts, and I would share about them, and I would like share like cheese all over my fingers. I was like doing great in all areas of my life. I was exercising. I couldn't freaking kick the cheese balls, and people like to this day still are like, "Oh my gosh, I saw these cheese balls and I thought about you." So there's ways that you can like brand yourself, get people to think about you like when they're not even on your page. You know, I went to a wedding one time when it's one of my coaches, but she had like a peacock theme in her wedding, and like everything was peacock. I cannot see a peacock. Like every time I see something peacock, I'm like, oh, I got to get that for Elizabeth. Like she's peacock. So there's ways to like brand yourself and kind of like share about things that you love. You know, ongoing themes throughout your page, so that then when people see that stuff, they think of you, and like, you know, you'll be surprised at messages that you'll get from people. I did a big thing with like my daughter Josie crying, because she cries about the craziest things, and you know, she looks like a friggin' melting pumpkin when she cries. Like she's just like really expressive. So people are always, whenever they see pictures of crying kids, they send them to me. Oh my gosh, I thought of Josie. So she's like created this huge following for herself. She gets more likes than most of my stuff, but so pretty much that is it. Like with the whole Facebook page thing, that really is what took my business off. Like I get all my business through my Facebook page now. I've got a great following, and it's created like where people like almost like they care about me, and you know, if they feel connected to me. I went to Summit this year, and I lost my luggage. Like I flew out there and lost my luggage. It was a nightmare. The whole time I had no luggage, nothing. And I'm 5'8", and like all the coaches on my team are like 5'1". No, they're not that short, but so they lent me their stuff, and I was like hooker dresses. It was a nightmare. But I shared about it, of course, through my page, and like people still are like, oh my gosh, when you lost your luggage, like they were like rooting for me. You know, people were like, did you get your luggage yet? Like all these people were watching it, whereas like normally, you know, people that aren't in the Beachbody world don't care that much about Summit, but because they felt like a connection to me, and because I was opening up and sharing about it, and it was a nightmare, and I took a picture of myself like in the hotel bathrobe, which I wore most of the time. You know, people were like sympathetic and reaching out, and everyone would send me messages. Oh my gosh, did you ever get your suitcase? Did you ever get your suitcase? Which went to Texas. It was probably at Mindy's house. I don't know. But I finally came like 2 weeks after, and so anyway, it's like gotten to be a great thing for me. My page, I love it, and it's a way to make the business fun, meet new people, and so that's kind of my thing, and it's what helped me build my business, get to Elite this year, and get to 5-star, and just keep on going. So I hope that was informative for you all, and thank you guys so much for having me here tonight.
That was awesome. I can't thank you enough. I think that's the biggest thing, is people tell me all the time that, you know, I can't find anybody. And so, you know, number one, it starts with, you know, working on your transformation, whatever it is, whether it's PIO, whether it's insanity, or whatever it is make sure that you're on track with your journey. So if any coach of mine or any coach out there is watching this, is it number one, circle back if you're trying to just build a business and you're focusing just on the business and you're letting your transformation go. Make sure that you get back on track with your transformation. People want to see results. Results aren't really tied to, oh, I lost 50 pounds or 100 pounds. They're tied to what is going on in your life that is better because of doing PIO or Insanity Max 30 or 21 Day Fix or whatever it is, and that what you're seeing as far as how Shakeology has helped you. And so say, oh, I don't feel any different, because they actually think that all they're doing is looking in the mirror and they want those Heidi Klum results, like you said. I want to look like a model at the end, and they're not realizing that, like you said, they're not drinking sodas or not taking naps. And for me, it was like I wasn't crashing in the middle of the day. For my husband, he was not having heartburn. So the things are, sometimes we're looking in the wrong areas. We're staring so hard that we don't see it. So if you're a coach and struggling, make sure that you are, like she said, being very sensitive and really looking for every change. Keep a log of how you feel, what cravings you have, how often you're hungry, whatever it is think outside the box. And and this kind of goes along with what Colleen was saying, is that as far as her business page goes, is that there's a strategy. This is you want to pay attention. I think so many people see coaches like Colleen who are successful, and even myself, I took off right away, and her coach Katie did, and they just think that if they don't all of a sudden take off that way, that they can't do it. I've seen and heard so many coaches say, I just can't be successful like so and so, or I just suck at this. And no, there's a strategy, because like I said at the beginning of this call, this is a business, and if you treat it like a business, it will turn into a business. And I tell everybody, it's like, you're not going to be a pro in the beginning. Like you heard Colleen say, she was followed all these people and posted it and was like, okay, wait for it. Nobody showed up. It had nothing to do with her personality, and it probably sounded foreign to people coming from her who knew her well, and it also didn't get her connected to anybody else. And so the thing is, what works for somebody else doesn't work for someone, in the next, door over. So the thing is, I say the same thing. Follow people, but don't become so consumed, because I've seen coaches who all they do is watch these coaches, and they just watch them, and they watch, and they watch, and they like, again, they're looking in the wrong place to try to have some, light shed on them. The big thing is be yourself. Figure out, you watch other coaches to see kind of the tactics they use, to see when their posts attract those things, but learn from them as strategy, but not so much copying what they say, because people will notice that it's it is fake, not from the other person, or it's not bogus material, but it doesn't fit your personality. So the big thing is, make sure that you're sharing your journey, make sure that you're watching other people, but not to the point where it holds you back because it's a contest in your head or a competition, or that you just get stuck because feeling inadequate at their level of connecting with people. And just more than anything is that follow a system, take notes. Don't just throw things into the wall, because I told coaches in the past, like, make sure that you're consistently posting, and make sure you're getting posts out there that get people engaged. That way they're trusting you. Well, a lot of pay attention to your audience as well. As far as branding yourself, if you like Google, what was it? I think hold on a minute. I did it. If you look at how to brand yourself, Mindy Horde, it will actually take you to my blog, which I give a very good in-depth training on how to brand yourself, which was, like Colleen was saying, is that you really want to find your audience. You want to find a way to connect to people. You want to know how to connect further with these people that you have relatable interests in, or relatable lives. That way, because like she said, there's programs out there that are sold by every coach. There is Shakeology, same flavors that are sold by every coach. The thing is, people want to go to you because they want that champion, that person who says, I believe in you, when you don't even believe in yourself. Well, it kind of sounds strange from a complete stranger who's trying to shove Shakeology down your throat, but it doesn't sound as bad when it comes from a friend or somebody you trust. So you have to share some level of personal, of your personality and what interests you, and let them into their life so that they trust you, because then you're going to be able to have that relationship with them where they don't want to disappoint you, where they really truly believe you care about them. It's going to motivate them through those moments where it's tough for them. So make sure you're doing that. And I will say, sharing personal stuff about my life has been huge on getting people to relate to me, understand me, and connect with me, and become my, challenge, my friends, my best friends, and to my family. And there is no certain level of personal sharing that you have to do, but the more you share and the more you'll become comfortable with it, the more comfortable you with it, you'll more in-depth things you'll share, which not only help other people connect to you, but they really help you heal. I've gotten through depression, marriage problems, and it is very scary to put yourself out there because you're afraid you're going to be judged, because in your head, if you never share it with anybody, you actually feel alone. And the more you talk about it, the more you'll realize other people are going through the same thing, and that makes you feel like less of an outcast. It makes you feel less ashamed of what you're going through. It makes you feel more of a connection to other people. And when you're going through marriage problems like I have, it is scary to put yourself out there, because we all know there's people out there who will on you to make your marriage worse, or it's the fact that you look like a failure. And so it's hard for me, but I've shared what's going on with my marriage, and I've shared what's going on with me with depression in the last couple months. That's something I've struggled with, and I've had a huge outpouring of support, and a lot of people are like, oh, wow, you're humble enough to share this, and you are confident enough to share this. And, when I shared my marriage problems, a couple calls ago, people were like crying on the phone because they are so connected to our family, because they watch Ryan and I. Ryan is a huge part of my business. It's not just Mindy and Team Relentless, it's Tim. And so people were like, okay, we are rooting for you. We want you to succeed. We'll be watching this, and we can relate because we've had problems, and we're going to put this into action. That's huge, because I didn't have, once I put myself out there, it wasn't as scary to people, and I realized how many people love us because I have continued to share our life for 3 years. So like I said, if you're having marriage problems, or I don't know, whatever it is, pooping problems or fertility problems, whatever it is you have that you're scared to share about, I'm not saying you have to share it about, but it actually helps people connect with you. And then it, in some level, kind of like Colleen said, she looked over the couch and saw her family there and was like, what the hell am I doing? And, essentially, I'm not sure that she would have felt that way had she not been part of this organization, the personal development, the constant be grateful for what you have. So to me, that may not have been Beachbody related. That may have been something out there like, hey, I'm being bratty, like she said. But the thing is, this all comes in conjunction with who we are now. It is because of what we're doing. So, I hope you guys took away something from this. Like I said, Google on how to brand yourself. Mindy Hort, if you want to kind of do a little more in-depth training on that. I also have a social media webinar that I did for, my team, I don't know, a couple of months ago. The next call is going to be next Wednesday at same time, 8:30 Central Standard Time. One of my fellow Diamond coaches in the Houston area, who is part of the Houston Market Council with me, is going to be sharing about 20-30 minutes on how to find your niche, which kind of goes hand in hand with what Colleen was saying, is that, marketing yourself and how to find that audience. So it's going to be more in depth. So I hope you tune in there. And that's a wrap. Thank you again, Colleen, and thank you, Ted and family, for giving up mom. And it's always a huge, sacrifice for everybody. So I definitely appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thanks, Mindy.
All right, bye.